Please tolerate the wrongs that I may have done to you, and bear with me as a father with his son, or a friend with his friend, or a lover with his beloved. Text 45. Adrishtapurvang rishitosmi drishtva bhayena cha pravatitam mano me tadeva me darshaya deva rupam prasida devesha jagang nivasa. After seeing this universal form, which I have never seen before, I am gladdened, but at the same time my mind is disturbed with fear. Therefore, please bestow your grace upon me and reveal again your form as the personality of Godhead, O Lord of Lords, O abode of the universe. Text 46. Kiritinam gaddinam chakrahastam ichami tang drishtum aham tataiva tenaiva rupena chaturbhujena sahasrabaho bhava vishvamurte. O universal Lord, I wish to see you in your four-armed form, with helmeted head and with club, wheel, conch, and lotus flower in your hands. I long to see you in that form. Text 47, and this is the last text for today. Shri Bhagavan uvacha maya prasanena tavajunedam rupam parang darshitam atma yogat tejomayang vishvamanantamadyam yanme tvaranyena nadrishtapurvam. The blessed Lord said, My dear Arjuna, happily do I show you this universal form within the material world by my internal potency. No one before you has ever seen this unlimited and glaringly effulgent form. So now we'll turn back to the original text we started with, which is text 37. It's on page 548. O Great One, who stands above even Brahma, you are the original master. Why should they not offer their homage up to you? O Limitless One, O Refuge of the universe, you are the invisible source, the cause of all causes, transcendental to this material manifestation. So here Arjuna is wonderful prayers, which are always fun to chant as well in the Bhagavad Gita. It's a different tune you can sing. And these are spontaneous prayer after Krishna reveals his universal form on the battlefield of Kurukshetra. So some of you are new here, so the universal form can be, you can see a picture in this book actually. Let's see, you go, which, it's on plate 31, the universal form. So to give us an idea of what Arjuna actually saw. But if we hear from what Sanjaya says and describes, he says, even if millions of suns was to arise, you can't even grasp the effulgence of the Lord. So it's really, this picture doesn't do justice, but it gives us some idea of the grandeur experience that Arjuna was experiencing in front of him. It's described that everything that you can see within the universe was being revealed to Arjuna right in front of him. So we don't even have the technology now to see what's beyond this little galaxy, what we call a galaxy. We can speculate, but here described in the Vedic scriptures, there's unlimited planets. We think there's only a few planets on this within our whole, whatever we can experience through telescopes, which are made by our imperfect senses. But Arjuna was seeing everything just by Krishna's will. So this is amazing. So this verse, he's saying he's above even Brahma, who's the original creator of the whole universe. In the Vedic scriptures, it's described that the engineer of the universe has 4 heads, because to essentially assemble the entire universe, it's his service on behalf of Krishna to design the universe. Krishna gives him the blueprint and he simply executes. But he's actually above him, because it's from him that Lord Brahma gets his power. So he's the actual original master, and Lord Brahma is just his servant. So he's saying, why should they not offer your homage up to you? It should be, it should be obvious. It should be spontaneous. If you see someone is so much more greater than you are, it should be natural that respect goes towards that person. Is it not? If someone's so much greater than you in every regard, let's say you're very much into, anyone into a sport or something? You guys, any sport, music, instrument, any instrument? Let's assume I know. Is this what is this, a musician or something? What is it? Loser. Is he a musician? Play some instrument? What kind of instrument he plays? Guitar. Okay, guitar. So do you play a little guitar? No? Okay. A few chords. Okay, but you're trying to play a few chords, but then this guy shows up. Naturally, he plays, you like, wow. Because you know what it takes. So respect for someone who's better than you in every regard is natural. It should come natural. So Arjuna said, why should they not offer their respects to him? He's so much more powerful and grandeur. So he's the refuge of the whole universe. Everything in the universe is dependent on him. It's taking shelter of him. And he's the invisible source. Although he's doing everything, the cause of all causes, still he's behind. He's not taking any credit. He's not thinking, we'll hold on that question. Transcendental to this material manifestation. So he has nothing to do with whatever we see here that's manifested with our own eyes. So he's not like any other ordinary person. So Arjuna's, this spontaneous prayer is coming from Arjuna. And this prayer is in line with what the revealed scriptures are saying. So Arjuna is remembering what he's heard from all his previous training and through the Vedic scriptures, and spontaneously that knowledge comes to mind when he's experiencing Krishna for what he actually is. It's like for us, if we learn the scriptures, when we go through a devotional service, naturally those verses should spontaneously come into our mind like that, because we've studied these verses so many times. It's like when we get into that situation, immediately those verses spontaneously come into our mind. So Arjuna, he's heard so much about Krishna, about all these personalities, Lord Brahma. So when he's experiencing Krishna, naturally all these wonderful prayers, they spontaneously come out. And that's why they're in line with the Vedic scriptures. It's not that he just concocted these things out of the factory of his mind, but these are in line with what he's heard. So it's out of great joy and ecstasy. Everything that he's heard is actually realized as truth. So we'll read the purport and then we'll discuss. But don't forget your question, okay? It might be answered in the course of reading this. Okay. By this offering of obeisances, Arjuna indicates that Krishna is worshipable by everyone. He is all-pervading, and he is the soul of every soul. Arjuna is addressing Krishna as Mahatma, which means that he is most magnanimous and unlimited. Ananta indicates that there is nothing which is not covered by the influence and energy of the Supreme Lord. And Devesha means that he is the controller of all the demigods and is above them all. He is the center of the whole universe. Arjuna also thought that it was fitting that all the perfect living entities and all powerful demigods offer their respectful obeisances unto him, because no one is greater than him. He especially mentions that Krishna is greater than Brahma, because Brahma is created by him. Brahma is born out of the lotus stem, grown from the navel abdomen of Garbhodakashayi Vishnu, who is Krishna's plenary expansion. Therefore, Brahma and Lord Shiva, who is born of Brahma, and all other demigods must offer their respectful obeisances. Thus, the Lord is respected by Lord Shiva and Brahma and similar other demigods. The word Aksharam is very significant because this material creation is subject to destruction, but the Lord is above this material creation. He is the cause of all causes, and being so, he is superior to all the conditioned souls within this material nature, as well as the material cosmic manifestation itself. He is therefore the all great supreme. Okay, so what's your question? Let's hear if it was answered. Nice. That's how it works. Prabhupada answers, he predicts all our questions and answers them nicely. So, therefore, if we read Prabhupada's books and the purports, some people make, okay, I got the Bhagavad Gita, why do I need a purport for it? Because the purport is just, he takes all the knowledge of the Bhagavad Gita and ensures that you understood everything in context and taken everything into consideration. So that's why the purports are, so that we don't misunderstand. Because if we try to understand this one verse and not in light of the rest of the Vedic scriptures, then we'll misunderstand. So ensuring that we don't do them, predicting how we can misunderstand, because we don't have the full gamut of all the Vedic scriptures, then Prabhupada gives a purport. So the purport is not his ideas or speculation. Every verse, every line in each of his purport can be traced to a verse, because he's reconciling everything in the scriptures. So we can read with faith. The purport is not different from the scriptures. You have a point, Magadhar Prabhu? Okay.
Okay, the comment was that in the purport, Prabhupada makes a point, as was mentioned by Arjuna, that Krishna, the person, is above Brahma, who's also a person, and Lord Shiva comes out of Brahma. So both Lord Brahma and Lord Shiva have to offer their respects to Krishna, the person. And I was just remembering that in the prayer that we sang for Gaur Nitai, we hear that Lord Shiva, as well as Shukadeva Goswami and Narada Muni, are basically getting choked up with ecstasy of love when they actually see Lord Chaitanya, who's actually sharing this Krishna consciousness movement in a way to pure love for Krishna. That was a comment. And then that was in the translation for the song we sang first. And then the second was a question, which is that when I hear this verse, it says, "O great one who stands above even Brahma, you are the original master." So is it talking about me? Because it says you.
Can you restate your question, sir?
It says you are the original master. So is Arjuna saying that I'm the original master? Because I definitely want to be.
You are the original master. Okay. So what's your question?
So is this verse talking about me?
It says you are the original master.
Yeah.
So he's talking to Krishna. How is it you?
What says you?
Yeah, this is a prayer to Krishna. So he's saying you are the original master. So I don't understand the confusion.
I'm just wondering, because when I read this, I'm thinking, yeah, that lines up. I am the original master.
Well, I guess you should have studied in English class. Then when you're you're talking to someone and they're saying you, this is obviously in context as he's speaking to Krishna and he's referring to you, to Krishna. I don't understand the confusion. I don't know how someone can confuse this. Well, to answer your question, it's not you. So, because you don't stand above Lord Brahma, you're not transcendental to this material manifestation. You're not, because he's saying, okay, he's also, all these other qualities are referring to that you. So no one's offering unlimitedly respects to you. No one's bowing down, and you're not the refuge of the whole universe. So it's not you. You're not the cause of all causes. Right?
What if I'm getting respects through Krishna? Like Krishna is just is getting the respects, but actually that's also me. So in a way that I actually am. Can you defeat this with philosophy?
The leader is someone. We have to have a spiritual leader, right?
Okay.
I just started reading the first one that you gave me, the scientific one, how to get to other planets. And you need to, the first step is you have to have a spiritual leader, and you need to provide for that spiritual leader in every way that they need, so that their desires are met, so that they can fulfill your need spiritually. Does that sound correct? And in that way, they are a vehicle to Krishna.
There's a comment by Maharaja.
Oh, you hear me?
We can hear you.
Philosophy that he asked, can you defeat the philosophy? It's not philosophy, it's just nonsense.
Actually, no, it's difficult to hear. Maybe if the tone turned up.
Repeat what I said, did you understand it?
Maharaj, can you hear this?
Yeah.
Maharaj said that the question was, can you defeat this philosophy?
No, we can't. There's like a lot of breathing sound in the mic, so we can't hear.
Maharaj said, or the question was, can you defeat this philosophy? And Maharaj said that it's not philosophy, it's not actually nonsense.
I said it's not philosophy, it's actually nonsense.
Okay.
Haridar was saying, can you defeat this philosophy? There's no philosophy at all. It's nonsense.
Magadari was saying, can you defeat this philosophy? But there's no philosophy involved, it's nonsense.
Yeah, I'm agreeing with what Ananda Prabhu said. That's not a question that makes sense.
Yeah, okay, I understood that. He said he agrees with what I said. That's not a question that makes any sense. The question is,
okay, I'm done. Thank you.
okay. So we'll continue reading. Text 38. You are the original personality, the Godhead. You are the only sanctuary of this manifested cosmic world. You know everything, and you are all that is knowable. You are above the material modes, O limitless form. This whole cosmic manifestation is pervaded by you. Everything is resting on the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Therefore, he is the ultimate rest. Nidhana means that everything, even Brahman effulgence, rests on the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Krishna. He is the knower of everything that is happening in this world, and if knowledge has any end, he is the end of all knowledge. Therefore, he is the known and the knowable. He is the object of knowledge because he is all-pervading. Because he is the cause in the spiritual world, he is transcendental. He is also the chief personality in the transcendental world. So, let's keep reading. You are air, fire, water, and you are the moon. You are the supreme controller and the grandfather. Thus I offer my respectful obeisances unto you 1,000 times and again and yet again. The Lord is addressed here as air because the air is the most important representation of all the demigods, being all-pervasive. Arjuna also addresses Krishna as the grandfather because he is the father of Brahma, first living creature in the universe. Text 40. Obeisances from the front, from behind, and from all sides. O unbounded power, you are the master of limitless might. You are all-pervading, and thus you are everything. Purport. Out of loving ecstasy for Krishna, his friend, Arjuna is offering his respects from all sides. He is accepting that he is the master of all potencies and all prowess, and far superior to all great warriors assembled on the battlefield. It is said in the Vishnu Purana, Yoyam tavagato deva samipam devata ganaha satvam eva jagat srishta yata sarvato gato bhavan. Whoever comes before you, be he a demigod, he is created by you, O Supreme Personality of Godhead. So, in this line, we can see more or less, in different ways, Arjuna is realizing how everything that you can possibly experience or know ultimately ends in Krishna and comes from Krishna. So his mind is becoming laser focused that Krishna is actually what we're supposed to be aiming to, what we're supposed to be aspiring for. And he's realizing that in a very practical way. So this eliminates all doubts that anything else is worth our worship or attention. And all our relationships should be based very clearly on this fundamental principle that we're all meant to serve Krishna and work together in that regard. And if we do that, then there can be real peace actually in society. Because ultimately, Krishna can satisfy every single person. He's not keeping his happiness to himself. He's expanding the bliss, expanding the happiness of the spiritual world. And you can be a part of it by just becoming subordinate to his plans, to his will. Because he has the best plans for our lives if we just simply accept. And if we understand exactly what Krishna wants through the medium of the scriptures, the spiritual master, as you pointed out, and the other sadhus who are also practicing, then Krishna, in due course of time, will help us on our path, in our relationship with him. And that's real knowledge. That's the real end and objective of knowledge, is that relationship with Krishna becomes real, becomes manifested, becomes tangible. So anything that's worth knowing is that which helps us in our relationship with Krishna, or facilitates us having that relationship with Krishna. So Arjuna, out of his great ecstasy, realizing this great powerful form is not being diverted away from Krishna. As his sweetness, as a forehand or two-handed form, as will be later revealed in the chapter, that Krishna reverts back to his original form. But rather, this is convincing Arjuna that because Krishna is the source of all that is being seen by him, that's what actually matters, not all these other things. This is the point. But Arjuna is showing us that for us, devotional service begins with this respect, this reverence for Krishna's supreme position above everything else. And if we do that, then we can actually appreciate him properly and develop real love for him. Because without respect, there cannot be any actual love for the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Just like in any relationship, without proper respect for that person, how can you actually love such person? So I have in the past addressed you as, O Krishna, O Yadava, O my friend, without knowing your glories. Please forgive me whatever I may have done in madness or in love. I have dishonored you many times while relaxing or while lying on the same bed or eating together, sometimes alone and sometimes in front of many friends. Please excuse me for all my offenses. Although Krishna is manifested before Arjuna in his universal form, Arjuna remembers his friendly relationship with Krishna and is therefore asking pardon and requesting him to excuse him for the many informal gestures which arise out of friendship. He is admitting that formerly he did not know that Krishna could assume such a wonderful form, although he explained it as his intimate friend. Arjuna did not know how many times he may have dishonored him by addressing him as, "Oh, my friend, oh, Krishna, oh, Yadava," etc., without acknowledging his opulence. But Krishna is so kind and merciful that in spite of such opulence, he played with Arjuna as a friend. Such is a transcendental loving reciprocation between the devotee and the Lord. The relationship between the living entity and Krishna is fixed eternally. It cannot be forgotten. As we can see from the behavior of Arjuna, although Arjuna has seen the opulences in the universal form, he cannot forget his friendly relationship with Krishna. So this is a little difficult to understand. So from one perspective, a devotee or a servant of God, of Krishna, naturally has that respect for Krishna. And we can see here, as soon as he remembers this, he immediately repents or feels bad for not respecting Krishna, for transgressing that. That natural respect is always there. But still, out of the Lord's arrangement, Krishna may allow his devotees to superficially go above this platform of just mere respect for the sake of loving exchanges. But these transgressions are done to give Krishna pleasure. And this is service. Because ultimately, what pleases Krishna is what actually matters, what actually satisfies him and gives him joy. And that principle can never be compromised above any other principle. Even, in fact, the highest respect we can show Krishna is to please him in the way that he wants to be pleased. So, therefore, even seemingly for the sake of actually pleasing him and actually showing him respect, then these transgressions, there were social transgressions, which one doesn't do for someone who's in such a superior position, treat him as an equal, eye and eye. But out of love, Krishna sometimes allows himself to be treated as an equal with his dear servants. It's just an increase of that same service which began with respect and reverence and awe, has intensified to such a degree that such a person can actually treat God even on an equal level. And sometimes even on a lower level. And therefore this whole month is actually glorifying this Kartik month, this pastime of Lord Damodar, where the Lord agrees to be bound by the love of his devotee mother Yashoda with ropes on a grinding mortar, because the Lord is ready to do that. He's ready to be captured by the love of his servants and be even subordinate to them. We see this Bhagavad Gita, the front cover tells us more about God's nature than any other scripture. He's ready to serve those who serve him. He's right in the chariot of Arjuna. He's driving the chariot, which, if you understand Vedic culture, the implication of this, the charioteer driver is a very low position, actually. It's in comparison to the great fighter. But still, Krishna, to please Arjuna, he agreed to do this. Is there a comment? Right?
Yes. I was going to say what you said. That point about not only can one a devotee become on equal level to the Lord, but he can even be in a superior position. Krishna will become his subordinate. So Prabhupada would say to the impersonalists, why do you want to become one with Krishna? If you become a pure devotee, you become better than Krishna. Krishna will act according to your desires. So not that the devotee wants to control God, but he wants, as you have said nicely, wants to please Krishna. And sometimes it pleases Krishna more to have to be chastised by his devotee who loves him than to be praised by those who only have a formal appreciation. Thank you.
Yes, Jai Keshav Prabhu.
Hare Krishna. I was wondering if you could recite the story about the prime minister.
Okay.
I think that was a nice
Yeah, that's a
illustration.
nice example given by Srila Prabhupada of a great general prime minister, General, can you remember the name? Gladstone. General Gladstone was a great general, I think in France or something. So there was a reporter or somebody wanted to meet this General Gladstone who was in charge of this, so many armies and like this, very powerful, respected personality. He was very nerve-wracking to meet such a person, but anyways, he had an appointment with him, so he was made to wait, and if you're made to wait, you wait patiently because it's the general, it's like you're gonna meet the president or something or prime minister, you wait. So he's waiting for a long time, and he's like, okay, I wonder what's going on. So he's like, maybe perhaps he's in a great meeting with officers on how to conquer some land or something very important. So he says he goes to the door to where the general is, his office, and he peeks in and he sees the general is really on his fours, and he has his grandson on top of him telling him, giddy up, and he's playing horse with his grandson. He's acting out as a horse for his grandson, and his grandson is beating him. Come on, giddy up. So the reporter is laughing because such a great, powerful general, but still he has this sweet side also. But out of the love of his grandson, he's becoming subordinate to his grandson, although he's not. So similarly, Krishna is not subordinate to everyone from his godly perspective, but out of his love and propensity, which we also have, similarly, he also agrees to become subordinate to his devotees, because he knows his devotees only have his self-interest at heart. He doesn't do that for everybody. These are very exalted personalities. So, but first, we should at least come to the platform of respect. We don't have any respect for Krishna. How can we enter into that type of relationship? We're not willing to follow his will, his desires. In this world, what to speak of in the transcendental world. So, we have 2 minutes. Any last questions?
So when Krishna is showing this universal form, is it the form itself that is making Arjuna realize, when he sees this form, is it making him realize oh wow, the magnificence of Krishna or of this universal form? Or is it the knowledge that he has that he backs it up with, that you're greater than the demigods and everything? Is that what is allowing him to see or realize inside this is a universal form? Or is it both together? Because my question is if someone doesn't have the knowledge to understand or know the demigods or something like that, seeing this universal form, would that automatically make that person realize this is the universal form? Or does the knowledge kind of back that up as well, if that makes sense?
Yeah. So I answered this in the beginning, and I said both. Right? Because he's been trained through all the Vedic scriptures prior, and this is how all these, but it's also the experience itself that's creating this experience for Arjuna where he's speaking these verses out of ecstasy, spontaneously. Oh yeah, that's a good point. That's why I made that point, because other persons were seeing the universal or something like it, and they didn't give a fig. There was like some magic Krishna has, some magic or something.
It says in the purport here that although he explained it as an intimate friend, so Krishna has explained this to Arjuna many times.
Yeah, that's also there. He didn't actually see it, but of course, this is all by Krishna's transit. It's pastimes. It's his Leela Shakti. Ultimately, Arjuna is from the spiritual world. He has all knowledge already. So, but for the sake of showing us some example, Arjuna is being used on the battlefield of Kurukshetra.
Is Arjuna human?
What do you mean by human?
5,000 years ago, do we think that Arjuna and Sri Lanka were inside of the body?
Yeah, these are human bodies that he... But ultimately, this is not like our body in the sense that his body is fully engaged in Krishna's service. 100%. So in one sense, it's a spiritual body. But it's temporarily manifested for the pastime. So.
But is he... I'm sorry. I'm just trying to understand. There's a material and an immaterial world, right? And these spiritual bodies, are we speaking of spiritual bodies in the material world or spiritual bodies in the immaterial world?
Can you say that again?
Like, there's a material body that we have, which is the elements and the spirit and everything. So is that still a material body when we say, because the elements includes the ego, the mind, and is it the spirit? One of them, one of those first seven. And then the eighth one is the immaterial. So are we talking about the immaterial body, or are we talking about the spiritual material body?
In regards to who? To Arjuna?
Arjuna.
Arjuna's body, the one that's on the battlefield, is made of the material elements.
Like yours and mine. On
yeah, like earth,
realm.
water, fire, air, ether, mind, intelligence.
Thank you. And so when Arjuna was friends with Krishna in the past, Krishna was made of those same elements?
No.
Never.
Yeah, and Krishna's form is Satchidananda, it's always eternal, full of knowledge and full of bliss. It's not made of these material elements.
Thank you.
Yeah. Okay, so we'll end there on time. Well, a little bit over time, but questions can be unlimited. So we'll end there for today. We can speak after if you like. So Srimad Bhagavad Gita ki jai. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Vancha kalpatarubhyascha kripa sindhubhya eva cha patitanam bhavanebhyo vaishnavebhyo namo namo.